together for Ben. He did a great job up here. Clap if you like black guys. See, racism still exists. You guys should all clap by default just because I'm up here. I'm the only black guy performing tonight, but it's all love. Racism does still exist. Who here is aware of that new Cheerios commercial that came out with the interracial couple? Who's, by round of applause, who's seen that commercial? All right. Well, for those of you who haven't seen it, let me just fill you in. So pretty much how it works. So 4-year-old mulatto girl, looks like me, kind of. She goes up to her mother and she's like, "Hey, Mom, Dad says that Cheerios helps your heart. Is that true?" And then she looks at the box. She's like, "Well, yes, Kim. It says here that the nuts and the oats, they're good for lowering your cholesterol, and it is good for your heart." And the little girl's like, So then all it goes is to the black father. He's laying down on the couch, and he wakes up, and on his heart, a bunch of Cheerios. Aww, isn't that cute? And all these people go on these blogs and YouTube commenting like, "That's disgusting, as if she's liking black guys, blah, 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 this and that." And I even put a hateful comment on there because the reason being is that they didn't depict an interracial family all that well, in my opinion. Because I, like I mentioned, come from an interracial family. My mother's here. She's very Caucasian, as you can see. So let's rewind 20 years ago, right? Marcel comes up to Mommy. "Hey, Mom, is it true that Cheerios helps your heart?" "Ben oui. C'est vrai ça, Marcel. It helps your heart. That's right, it's really good for you." Put the Cheerios on my dad, thinking it's nice and sweet, right? Father wakes up. "Marcel, get your black ass in here! How you gonna waste $2.17 on these Cheerios? You better go get yourself a goddamn job!" And I became the youngest radio announcer at 4 years old, so very different upbringing. I was not impressed with that. But I do work for the radio, Version 103.1. Who listens to that station by chance? Nice, 7 fans I just accumulated, that's great. All right, well, working for Virgin, it's a lot different than I thought. They pretty much just give me all the gigs A Spurby doesn't want, which is cool. They asked me, they're like, "Marcel, would you be interested in hosting Youth for Change?" And I'm like, "Well, you can't say no to the kids, right?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, fine." In Hazel Ridge, Manitoba. Like, where the fuck is Hazel Ridge, Manitoba? So I drive hour-long, where the hell's Hazel Ridge, Manitoba? Finally get there, population 72 kids. Elementary to 5th grade. Elementary kids didn't even bother showing up. They're like, "I got no time for this." So pretty much the whole thing was these kids raised $1,000. One parent donated $500 just to go show you how. All right, well, either way, so they've got a couple performers. They got Keith and Renee. They're playing guitars, stringing along. Everyone's having a blast, or the kids are singing along with them. They're like, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome." And then they show this footage of them in Kenya just carrying water on their backs. It's very inspiring and touching, right? And then these 2 ladies from Slow Mission are like, "Okay, now, we're going to show you what we're all about here." Slap on a 5-minute video where pretty much it's just going around Winnipeg, showing all the homeless people, they're clothing them, all this stuff or whatever. And the last clip is this old homeless guy named Barry. And he just ends it off with the tag, "I just want a better life." And I'm like, that's touching. But she tells me, one of the ladies from Slow Mission, she reaches in and she's like, "Oh, about Barry. He passed away last week." Now, how the fuck am I supposed to follow this shit? So I go on here, kids are crying, and I'm like, well, that was sad, but you guys make me happy because you're trying to make a change. Some kid whipped a pencil on me. He's like, "Go back to Kenya." I was like, "Whoa, I'm not even from Kenya. My hairline's right here, not all the way back here. What are you saying?" They had no love for Virgin out there, so it is what it is. But is there any single white ladies out here? I like to single out the white ladies. Single white ladies? Any? Yes, this table's where I'm sitting. All right. What kind of guys are you into, single white ladies? Me. All right, I'll take that. Now, most girls, they always like the Old Spice Man, but I feel like it would be a whole life summed up in 15 seconds of the Old Spice Man. He's just so brief about everything. You meet him in the bar. "This is a condom. This is a penis. This is a condom on a penis. We're having sex. The condom broke. Now there's 2 of me, a box of Cheerios, and the interracial family you always wanted." Old Spice. Thank you very much. That's my time. Give it up for the rest of the comedians tonight.